right, everybody, Raven fans, Oriole fans, thank you for joining us this week on our Ravery Sports podcast for fans like me. Like and subscribe to all of our social media platforms. Thank you for joining us this week. We're going to start it. We did start it with getting ready for the big game on Saturday with the MVP chant. You didn't know what that was. That's the MVP chant for the likely MVP, Lamar Jackson, because hopefully the Ravens go ahead and are successful on Saturday, winning the divisional round, as we hope. Let's get the business out of the way. Genesis Notary Services.facebook.com. Genesis Notary Services /Facebook.com. Get it right. Get it right. Genesis Notary Service is my notary business that we are going around in the Shenandoah Valley area. Now, what you didn't know maybe is we are going to have a live stream on President's Day at 12 o'clock. So definitely anybody out there, we're going to be talking a little bit about what we do exactly, Shenandoah Valley, how we notarize our documents, our field inspection business. Very, very, very soon, we're going to be rolling out our loan signing business as well. So definitely, we're going to be getting that squared away for you. 12 o'clock, definitely on President's Day. Used to be Washington's holiday, Lincoln's holiday. Now it's President's Day. So we are going to be rolling that out as well. You can get all the Ravery Sports merchandise on ravorisports.company.site. You can get a lot of that there as well. That may be expanding soon as well. Definitely this. I'm working with somebody right now to actually get that experiencing as well. Maybe making some changes, the design, the app, etc. So we're doing that as well. Hopefully we can get that done pretty soon. Here's something new. Harris Legal Shield. So that is just now starting. 4/24, we're going to do a live stream for that as well to kind of introduce Harris Legal Shield. If you are out there, especially you business owners, okay? If you're like me and you own a business, legal issues are inevitable, right? You're going to have legal issues. And if you get sued, that's a great thing to have. Legal Shield as well is great. I can't tell you the value you're going to get out of this Legal Shield. I'm telling you. The cost to pick up the phone and talk to a lawyer is enormous. Legal Shield will give you the opportunity to speak to a lawyer whenever you want. Okay, they can put out a letter for you, get a will done for you. With the package, trust me when I tell you, it's just going to save you so much money. I'd be so happy to talk to you about that. 2/4/24 at 3 o'clock, we're going to go ahead and roll that out. Harris Legal Shield is the thing that we're doing. One more thing, Ravery Sports, Super Bowl Sunday, 4 o'clock stream. We do not know how long we're going to be there. We are thinking Ravens are going to be in the Super Bowl. So if they are, we're going to be there for a long time. We may do the whole game. We will see how that goes as far as Harris Legal Shield, Genesis Notary Services, and a Super Bowl Sunday stream. And, of course, you can get merchandise at ravorisports.company.site. Let's talk about this game. Awesome. No question about it. Divisional round. One of my favorite weekends in football, the divisional round. I will say the Super Wild Card, I wasn't as for, but it's fantastic. That was good stuff. Even with the lopsided nature of the game, some of those games are really good. We're going to get to all the wild card games. But we got a game against the Houston Texans on Saturday at 4:30 at M&T Bank Stadium. I did get that wrong in the graphic. It's ABC where the game is going to be on Saturday, ABC, ESPN. So definitely check that out there. Texans played us week 1. Now they're playing us again. Texans over the Browns last week. Their likely MVP in the league, Lamar Jackson. That was what he did this season in the passing, 3,600 yards passing, 78, 24 TDs to 7 interceptions. He was sensational all year long. Likely to win his second MVP trophy this season. His team has the best record, best player on the best team. Can't say enough about Lamar. He's been fantastic all season long. Gus Edwards, 198. I've said it a couple times. How lucky have we been to have Gus Edwards? You lose a Keaton Mitchell, you lose a J.K. Dobbins early in the season. You lose these guys. What do you still have? Gus Edwards, 13 touchdowns he's had this season, almost 810 yards. Really, that's good considering, especially not a ton of carries in a bunch of these games. He used them sparingly, used them a little bit, only used them in short yardage. Like I said, they use Keaton Mitchell, they use Justice Hill, use a lot of these guys. Gus Edwards has been a very good rock for him. Very good rookie season for Zay Flowers. Under normal circumstances, if it's not for maybe the guy on the other side and Puka Nacua, this guy might be right in the rookie of the year conversation. 838 yards, 5 TDs. Harbaugh did say that he wasn't practicing last week. I didn't see him on the injury report today when I saw it. When I was recording this, like early Wednesday. So I didn't see him on the injury report. As far as that goes, he should play. He should play. He is a bit banged up. It is towards the end of the season, but big news there with Zay Flowers. Justin Matabuke. There's a video out where he's yelling 25 million. So it could be an extension's already happened. Maybe they haven't announced it yet. Absolutely fantastic season for Justin Matabuke. Definitely the bell cow going forward on this defensive line. He's been fantastic. Ravens haven't had a guy for years like this that's gotten 10 sacks. Matabuke with 14. Definitely Trevor Price all over and then some. Excellent sacks from the inside. Maybe the best interior guy in the whole league as far as sacks. Maybe Chris Jones was better. That's about it. CJ Stroud, 23 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. The poise he's shown the last few weeks has been unbelievable. Forget what you saw week 1. That was a rookie quarterback playing in his first game. This guy, the last few weeks I've seen him, these guys are everything the Jags were supposed to be in that division. Young quarterback playing with poise, finding his receivers. Great stuff all year from CJ Stroud. Relaxed as well, praising Jesus after just the demeanor and the way he carries himself. Very impressed with Stroud on the field and the way he's handling everything. Definitely a captain for many years. Devin Singletary, 898, 4 TDs. He's your main ball carrier. They don't really run the ball a ton, I don't think. This is the main guy, but they don't really run the ball a ton. They throw a lot. So the corners and everything are going to have to stand out. When I'm watching them, they're going to have to play well. Also, to figure out a running game, Laramie Tunzel, kind of banged up in the last game. We'll see how that goes. Their receivers have been really good. Nico Collins had almost 1,300 yards, 1297, 80 receptions, 8 TDs. Tank Dell also too. They're good receiving core that they have. Dalton Schultz, very good stuff from the Texans as well. Their receivers are really good. They have a good quarterback. They have good receivers. The talent is definitely there. They're going to give the Ravens some problems on defense. You might know Will Anderson, who was a high pick in the draft. Jonathan Greenyard has been fantastic all year long. A little banged up again towards the end, like a lot of guys. 12.5 sacks. Excellent season from him. Gave him a good set of bookends. So definitely had to be work to be done by Ronnie Stanley and Morgan Moses. They've been playing them in tandem. Let's see how that goes. Let's see if they continue to do that. As far as a tandem, a wide receiver, they're there because these guys really do rush the passer. I don't think the defense is tremendous, but they definitely have the great start here with the bookends as well. Derek Stingley's on there as well. Great defensive back that they have. I think Ravens are going to win the game. Purple-colored glasses aside, I thought the Texans would lose the last round, but the poise and everything they've shown has been very good as well. I don't think they have enough firepower to beat the Ravens. I would say this about Stroud. Very impressed about how he shredded the Browns defense, but I think Lamar is ready to go in this one. He's going to remember what happened in Tennessee. He's going to remember all the playoff criticism. He's going to remember. He's been paying bills all season long. He's remembering all this stuff. I don't think on the field, I think the concern I have is, can the Ravens uh, really push that line? I think, can they go ahead and do something against the Texans offensive line, which is fairly good as well. Matabuke, Hamilton, the health is important of that. Will we have guys at full strength? I know Marlon Humphrey's still DNP practice, ready to go. 27-21 Ravens over the Texans in this one. I like our chances absolutely in this one. I think the Ravens do win this one. I think it will be somewhat close, though. I don't think they're going to horse race them out, but I think you'll see some good defensive plays as well. Very important. Stroud, again, rookies usually don't get this far. Rarely do we see a rookie quarterback outside of Joe Flacco win this many games. So definitely Ravens. I think they have a date with in the that's ready to go in the AFC Championship. You know, all the years we've never hosted an AFC Championship. So definitely we're looking forward to that, to the Ravens hosting an AFC Championship game. Divisional round this week. So as we segue from the Ravens to the whole league, let's go and talk about the NFL in totality of the divisional round. Once again, wild card, the super wild card. I'm not for 17 games. I'm not really for Thursday night football, but I am acknowledging maybe I was wrong about adding the extra playoff team because you get more games. It's very cool to actually see more playoff games this week. So it was definitely worth it. Cleveland and Houston. That surprised me a bit. Not a ton surprised me. Houston, obviously, we just talked about them in the game. Flacco started to trip himself up a little bit. Threw more picks towards the end. And Houston actually took advantage of that as well. What did surprise me, I think I already stated it in the is how easily Stroud shredded that really good Cleveland defense. Cleveland's defense was really good, but Garrett didn't even show up as like he's been showing up. Good job by Stroud. I thought he was outstanding in this. Miami and Kansas City, I didn't get that one right either. Man, that was a big Dolphins didn't show up at all in this one. Dolphins defensively, I think they were really banged up a lot. A lot of people saying cold weather bothered them. Warm weather team, maybe that was it. But they just didn't look motivated, wanted to be there. Kansas City won. That was kind of the same way they've been winning. If a team doesn't score a lot for them, they can win those games. That's kind of what happened there. Rashid Rice is getting better. We'll see about that. Green Bay and Dallas, that was the shocker. I don't think anybody predicted that, at least the way they won it. That's the youngest team of the league. A quarterback, Jordan Love, who I think might have almost got benched early in the year, he's really developed. He's gotten better. Their young receivers, Christian Watson and those guys, Aaron Jones, their line is getting there. Those young guys, the defense, they went into Dallas and just totally took them apart. Cowboys, I think McCarthy gets fired. I think I'm more. I think also I kind of said this last year with Kirk Cousins. I think Prescott, I've seen enough. You're not winning these games like this, buddy. You're getting $40 million. You got to start winning these games, or at least start looking good in them. He just looks bad every time you have these big divisional games, just around playoff games. That's not gonna keep working. LA, the Rams and the Lions, I thought was the best game of the week by far. It's impossible not to feel great for the Rams, especially Goff. Goff was cast aside by McVay, replaced by Stafford, and he took them out of the playoffs. Good for them. Fans were just crying in the stands. I don't know about going that far, but I get it. You haven't won in so long in Detroit. So good for them. Dan Campbell, I was wrong too. I mean, he's been phenomenal for them. The energy he's bringing, that's a physical football team. The Rams. Buffalo and Pittsburgh, that was a mismatch. There was no chance. Pittsburgh has no quarterback, no shot. That's what Mike Tomlin has to do in the offseason. I don't think he's leaving either. I don't think he doesn't want to go anywhere. He loves it in Pittsburgh. I don't think there's a better job than Pittsburgh as far as keeping your job. And lastly, Philadelphia Philadelphia and Tampa Bay. Tampa won. Give Baker Mayfield credit. Give him credit. A lot of teams didn't want him. They were expecting to rebuild. They were so bad, people thought they were going to start to rebuild. Baker Mayfield has messed it up. He's been good. He's been very good for them this year. He's got good receivers. He's got good talent around him. He may have probably, I think he probably too, especially he got to the divisional round, that probably he's done enough to earn the starting job for them next year. I don't see why not as far as that goes. Philly, man, Philly fans are so irrational. The Nick Sirianni getting fired, he just took the Super Bowl last year. Definitely it has some issues. The real issue they're having is not the coach. There's some issues there. The issue is they were enormously banged up in a lot of ways. The way they run their offense, Hurts was banged up. A lot of their running backs are banged up, running that tush push all the time, running their defense. They lost a lot of guys on defense. That's the problem. So issues there with that. So wild card weekend. So our game is first. Ravens is going first Saturday. Second game on Saturday. The big upset, Green Bay against San Francisco 49ers. Green Bay and San Fran. So San Fran is the 7th seed. They're the lowest seed. They automatically qualify to play the 1 seed. 49ers, best team in the NFC, getting the bye in the NFC. I think Green Bay, the fact that they get this far, they're on house money. I don't think in any way they match up with San Fran. I don't think this one is close. San Fran did struggle against the Ravens, but they've been good pretty much in every other game all year long. Brock Purdy has been pretty good all season. Christian McCaffrey's been good all season for them. I think they score a lot of points on this defense. Green Bay, the back end has been kind of creaky lately. The Packers, I think this is pretty, for me, decisive that they win. They're not. This is not the Dallas Cowboys who kind of chokes in these type of games. The Niners will show up, and I think this is pretty handily win there as well. I kind of have a similar view of this one. Bucks, good for them. Bucks win the South. They won the division. They go ahead and they beat the Detroit Lions. I think this is pretty sure as well. I really like the Lions here in this one. I think this will almost be an easier game for the Lions as well. The Lions, as quiet as it's kept, they hit you in the mouth. They're very physical. Every time I see you're playing the Lions and you're going to have some guys come off the field hurt, come off the field injured, they kind of hit you in the mouth. Their offensive line, I think, is fantastic. It doesn't matter. This is why Goff is having a good season. This is why their stable of backs are doing so well, because they're running the ball very, very well. I like them. I like the fact that they run the ball very well. They have great push up front. The defense isn't super. The corners aren't super, but it's good enough. Aiden Hutchinson is really good. They have good pass rush. I like Detroit in this one as well. I think the Bucs are a great story, though. I think they've been gaining all year long. They don't score a ton of points, but they score some. I think they'll lose by 2 touchdowns. I don't think they're close to the Lions here. The only thing here with the Lions, I think the thing is so much emotion next week. Goff playing against the Rams. Goff, the city not winning a game in forever, getting a home playoff game. Is the tank a little bit empty? That's a little bit of concern there for the Lions. But I think the Lions should win. This is obviously the best game of the 4. The one that's The last game on Sunday, the one everybody wants to see, the Chefs and the Bills. The Chefs, the first time on the road on the playoffs in the Pat Mahomes era, not the 1 seed or the 2 seed, now the 3 seed, playing on the road in Buffalo against the Bills. We remember that game. That was one of the best games in NFL history a couple of years ago when the Bills lost to Green Bay, lost to the Chefs in the divisional round. One of the all-time great games. Now we get to see it again this week. Again, decisive. Kansas City. I'm a little surprised they're here. I thought Miami would beat Miami, just didn't show up for that cold weather in there. Their offense is kind of, look, they got Mahomes. I think that's kind of masking how bad it is. Their offensive tackles, I saw it again that week, aren't good. They're really struggling. Rashid Rice is coming along as a receiver little by little. He's gotten better. He's got no help. Besides, Kelsey obviously is fantastic. Their offense is kind of only going to give you so many points. Their defense, even though it's highly ranked, I'm still not overly impressed outside of Chris Jones. Secondary, not bad. Linebackers, pretty good. I don't know if they just don't have the horses. Josh Allen, even I think in this game, sometimes you worry about Josh Allen's mistakes. I'm not even so much worried about it in this game because Josh Allen, he's just going to score more. Even if he does throw a pick or something like that, KC doesn't have the firepower to actually do it. It's going to be cold. Both teams will show up for the cold. And it'll be interesting to see how he does on the road. This is new territory for Mahomes. Has he never had to play a home game? They've always been the 1 seed, or even in the championship, they've been the 2 seed and the higher seed. And the other team got knocked out. So they've never had a road game here. And it'll be interesting to see. I don't think we get a classic here. I think the Bills horse race them out. I think the Ravens game will be the most competitive in the divisional round. I don't think any of these games are that close. There you go. Divisional round, NFL. So we will go ahead and check that out as well. Definitely enjoy all the games this weekend. Last weekend, where we get 2 days of football all season until next year. So definitely enjoy the divisional round. Let's switch to the hoops. How did you like that Maryland win if you saw it in Champaign? So Terps, who were written off, really had a struggle early, lost bad to Purdue, lost a couple games. They look good against Illinois. So they go into this game 11-6 as of this recording. So they've got a game Sunday. So they do have, I think, another game there. But they do have a game Sunday against Tom Izzo's Michigan State Spartans. Now, at the beginning of the year, I thought Michigan State was going to be the best team in the Big Ten. They've kind of struggled as well. Purdue has definitely outplayed Michigan State. But Michigan State, I think, is pretty good. They're going to go to the tournament. They've lost some games. You can see their record there. But their Michigan State is really good. So let's look at the Spartans. A lot of the same faces we saw when we played them last year. Tyson Walker is having a tremendous year. You see the average 20 points a game, 2 assists. He's like the guards like you see now, the 6'1", 6'2"-ish guy, but he's not really a point guard. He's a scorer, and he's been scoring a lot for him. I think definitely he's their best player. Put the ball in his hands. Very good battle with him and Jameer Young in this one. A.J. Goddard for Michigan State. So last year, he was kind of like in the same spot, 11.6 scoring average, a little bit up. He's more of the point guard type. So he's bigger, but he handles the ball a lot. So he passes a lot for them. He kind of handles the ball, doesn't score as much. Bit more of a floor game from A.J. Goddard, where Walker is the more volume scorer. They didn't have Malik Hall a lot last year. Malik Hall is the forward, 10.5, 4.6 rebounds a game. This is kind of like what you see. He's similar to like what we're seeing with Dante Scott. This is the type of player he is. Although I think his ceiling is a little higher. I think if he has a night, if he went ahead and Walker has an off night, I think more than a Dante Scott or a Julian Reese, he can maybe carry you more offensively as well. So he is going to go ahead and get this squared away. I didn't do a graphic for it. Xavier Booker is not in the graphic, not scoring as much. I thought he would have a bigger impact, kind of like on Maryland with DHS Harris Smith, not the kind of impact I expected them to have. This is a case too with college basketball with a lot of freshmen now. They were talking about Bronny James. You're talking about a lot of freshmen, DHS, Booker. A lot of these guys not playing as much behind that. UCLA, a lot of freshmen and sophomores struggling a bit. So we're seeing that like seniors, more seasoned players are taking up a lot of the time. Jameer Young for Maryland, 19.3 points a game, 3.7 assists. He kind of go, the Terps kind of go as he goes. He is their scorer. Someone that Tyson Walker on the other side. Really looking forward to that now. That's why I'm watching this game, especially to see the battle between the two outstanding players who got like that. They're definitely both of these in contention for Big Ten Player of the Year, or certainly Big Ten first team. Julian Reese, 13.9, 9.4 points a game. Production kind of dipped a bit, but he was really good in the Illinois game. So definitely as well. I think that's when they're at their best. Jameer Young could kind of do his thing on the outside. Julian Reese could kind of score and do his thing on the inside. So they could get the ball. There are games I see with him. They kind of don't know what they want. He's not always aggressive offensively all the time. I think he should be. Because definitely he's their guy that's going to score a lot. Some nights, if it's not him, it's Dante Scott, who has now 10.8 points a game, 5.1 rebounds. It depends on that. I even see him at center at times, Dante Scott. It's almost as if they kind of take turns doing it. But Scott's had some good nights. It's more Julian Reese than Scott, but they're similar guys. They're not true centers. They're bangers, but they have some finesse to them, but they can score, both of them. So definitely, I think those guys are so important, what you're seeing there as well. You still have Harris Smith kind of developing. Jordan Geronimo, I like him. He's kind of a floor guy, though. He was tremendous in the Illinois game, all over the court. Defensively, making stops, hustling. That's exactly what his game is. I think the Terps win this game. I think they actually go ahead. This could be a start of a run. The Illinois game was a run. Now I'm excited because I think they when you win a good team, they didn't really do that a lot last season when it gets a ranked team on the road. That's showing something. So definitely, I think they beat the Spartans, who are still kind of finding their way. Sunday, 12 o'clock. So definitely. So you got a Ravens game on Saturday. You got a Terps game on Sunday at 12 o'clock. So no Ravens football Sunday, but you're going to get Terps. So definitely check that out. CBS Paramount Plus is the channel for that. All right. So thank you for that. So let's go ahead and get this in. A couple quick topics. I kind of mentioned that. Paramount Plus. NFL fans apparently upset at the fact that the Miami KC game was on Peacock. So that was the first game in NFL history where it was behind a streaming service. So all the other games in history have been, I think, have been on broadcast or cable. This was the first one that was actually on the streaming service. So most of the games on NBC, you can watch them on Peacock anyway, but you can watch them on the regular network NBC, where this one you couldn't watch it on NBC. It was only on Peacock. Apparently they paid purportedly $130 million or something like that to actually have this game streamed just on Peacock. They paid the league to actually do it. This is ridiculous fake outrage to me. Why is anybody so upset? Like, what's wrong with Peacock, for God's sake? I have Peacock, so I guess I'm a little different because I watched WWE and all that stuff, so I can understand. So I've been had it, so I don't understand. I think a lot of people didn't have it. I'm thinking that's what it is. I've heard some people criticize the broadcast. It wasn't much different. I don't like Garrett as much or whatever, but I kind of don't understand the fake outrage. This is where it's going. I know that, and that's definitely I want to drive home here. Look, the streaming services is where it's going. You got about, we're in 2024 now. I would say by 2028, that's what it's going to be. If you want to watch anything on NBC, it's Peacock. Everything's going to be on Peacock. I think the regular over-the-air networks is only going to be news and sports, if that. They're not going to have any of the other shows or things like that. You're not going to have that. You're going to have to get the streaming service. I don't have a problem with this. I don't understand why everybody's so upset. All of a sudden we care about the 70-year-old. No, just stop it. ESPN is probably as harder to get as far as streaming and everything than Peacock is. Peacock's like $5. So I kind of didn't understand it. Even in Miami and Kansas City, you could still watch it over the air. I think the NFL still has that, or if it's NFL Network, ESPN, or whatever, they show it on the local channel. So a lot of fake outrage there. It was silly. Jerry Krause. We're going to talk NBA here a little bit. Jerry Krause booed at the Bulls Ring of Honor. Now, Jerry Krause, God rest his soul, passed away in 2017. So his widow was there to accept the inaugural Bulls Ring of Honor because the Bulls wanted to honor him because he was the GM of the 6 titles that the Bulls won. And the fans went ahead and booed Jerry Krause when his name came up. The widow, that was not good. Also, too, no Michael Jordan, no Scottie Pippen, and no Dennis Rodman at the Ring of Honor. I'll get to the Krause thing second. Michael, why weren't you there? What do you do? I thought that was. Look, Michael is a grown man. He certainly doesn't have to answer to me. He certainly doesn't have to answer to anyone. He's a billionaire. But I don't buy at all that it was a scheduling conflict. That's nonsense. He has his own plane. They would have flew him in. Why even do this if you don't? What do you think the people want to see? They want to see Michael Jordan. That's why you do this whole thing. That's why they even have an event like this. The Bulls aren't a good team. So what you do, sometimes you pull from the past. You go ahead and do that. So why wasn't Michael there? Michael didn't have the respect to actually go ahead and be honored in the Ring of Honor. Now, it's one thing, like, if Steve Kerr kind of said that, that's fair enough. They actually did a Golden State game so Steve Kerr could even be there. He actually has some place to be. All right. He's an NFL coach, NBA coach. I don't know Michael Jordan, obviously, if he has an illness or something, if it's something like that, I don't know. But I don't really think it's a good reason why he wasn't there. He left the video. That's not, come on, guy. Show up at the thing. Apparently him and Scotty aren't getting along because of The Last Dance or other things. His son is dating and all that stuff. Dennis is kind of weird. I think those guys should have been there. The Bulls fans, that was completely classless. You got no class Bulls fans in that arena who did that. You got no class because the man is dead. I don't know what's going on in society with respect for the dead. What's going on? The guy's not there to defend. I'm almost okay with it had he still been alive. But they brought his widow here to honor him, and she's in tears. What's wrong with y'all? It's funny how in life that works. Like, we can cheer Ray Rice, and I don't want to stay on that, who did something that was obviously horrible. Jerry Krause didn't do anything but his job. He wasn't even in charge of that. It was Reinsdorf, but he kind of like took the heat for getting rid of the Bulls. He brought you 6 championships, and you boo his wife. Classless, unacceptable. That went on. So shame on y'all Bulls fans. Shame on Michael and Scott and for not being there. That's no. All right. So let's go ahead and talk about this. This was a wow when I saw this one. this blew my mind. This appeared right after my stream last week. So I was after this. the first thing that popped up was Stephen A. and Jason Whitlock. We're gonna listen to a little bit of this. Fair use. We'll go ahead. Kids, parents telling your kids to be careful here.
What does this man do? Why would I call up this article? There's a plethora of reasons why I would do so, ladies and gentlemen. One of the reasons would be because it's as in depth as it gets about how scurrilous, how trifling, how despicable this man is. But there's also another reason that I'd pick up this article. Let me read the graph to you that it says. Keep in mind, Stephen A. can't write. This staff, the one Whitlock was praising by way of warnings that if the writers and editors wouldn't align with his vision, he would get rid of them, was not the one Whitlock wanted.
Fair use.
The Undefeated, because that was the name of the title before it ultimately became And Scape. The Undefeated was originally meant to attract the best and brightest young black talent in the country, with Whitlock's aim set so high that he at one point seriously tried to recruit the Atlantic Ta-Nehisi Coates, the sharpest cultural commentator in the business today. As things worked out, though, those young writers comprehensively refused to work with him. So did big-name ESPNers like Howard Bryant, Jamel Hill, and Stephen A. Smith. I couldn't write, huh? While you were on Blaze TV, spewing that bullshit to Did you tell them that? Did you tell them how you stood outside of First Take begging me to talk to you? Did you tell them that once this same article in Deadspin came out, weeks later you wrote a lengthy apology to me in an email, begging me to forgive you, pointing out how you were betrayed by this particular writer, so you know how I must feel that you betrayed me?
His tone of
Did you
voice is
tell the
hilarious.
folks that, you bitch? Did you tell them, you fat piece of shit? Did you tell them that? Got the names. We got Jamel Hill. We got Howard Bryant. You want me to bring up the other writers that wouldn't work for you? Why it took you nearly 2 years to get an article out? Because you ran that shit so bad you were running it into the ground? What a disgrace you were to John Skipper, the former boss of ESPN, or the host of others. You want me to talk about that? Because I got receipts. I got the email. Want me to talk about
Oh wow. That was just a little snippet. It's on the Stephen A. Smith channel. Definitely check it out as well. He goes on about Jason Whitlock. Jason Whitlock, for those of you that don't know, and I actually watched both of these podcasts and shows, so I actually know both of these guys. Jason Whitlock was a former ESPN reporter, legend. He's very good standing as a columnist, one of the few black columnists that came up in the early 2000s, worked for the Kansas City Star, worked at ESPN, worked at Fox Sports 1 more recently, more nationally. The show Speak for Yourself, he was him. He worked with Colin Cowherd and he worked with Marcellus Wiley. Right now, he's on Blaze TV, like Stephen A. just pointed out, fearless. And I'm sure, like all of you, have heard of Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith, I think, is the #1 sports reporter and most known name, face of ESPN. Simply put. And basically, Whitlock has been inferring that he didn't write his book, right? He was kind of implying that he didn't write his book. He didn't play college basketball. His career is kind of not what he said it was, et cetera, et cetera. He's only kind of embellishing, et cetera. Whitlock is known as a black conservative, more or less, right? And Stephen A. and a lot of, especially African Americans, feel like that Stephen A. is a bit of a sellout. in a lot of ways because Stephen A. has success on the corporate level at ESPN, and he's pretty hard on black athletes. He talks NBA is his bread and butter. He's hypercritical of all athletes in NBA. Most of the athletes in the NBA are uh, African American. Pretty much all the American, most of the American players in the NBA are African American. Most of them. Here's my thoughts on this. I want to go to the overarching thing. The fact that these two guys don't like each other, that's absolutely true. That I totally believe the fact that these two guys don't like each other. That's absolutely right. What is also true is there's money to be made here. What I think is very interesting, and what a point I think a lot of people miss talking about this, is now you see these legacy media guys embracing the YouTube beef. Because that's exactly what they're doing. There's money to be made in this. Look, I said I watched a little bit of Fearless. I don't really like Whitlock. I don't really agree with a lot of what he says a lot of times, but I've seen it. And Stephen A. Smith, look, his YouTube channel, he must have gained 100,000 subscribers doing that. It works. I mean, that's what he does. He's embracing. So these guys, not so long ago, well, these blogs and YouTubers and editor, who do you guys think you are, and all this other stuff, they're embracing it. So I definitely think that's true. I don't really care if Stephen A. played college basketball or whatever. I think what snapped him over the fact is what he said. As a writer, that's not a cool thing to say that you didn't write your own book if he said he wrote it. So I understand why that is. I do believe that he didn't like each other, but I do believe Stephen A. Smith, I do want to say this about him. There's a term in media called editorial judgment. He's the best I've ever seen in it, or one of the best. He knows exactly what's going to get clicks. He knows exactly how to get himself extra eyeballs, and that works. And usually what he does works. He absolutely understands that. Whitlock, I think, I totally agree on this take of Whitlock. Whitlock, what he said about LeBron James when LeBron had the N-word painted on his house was disgraceful. That was one of the most disgraceful things I've ever seen. Whitlock. So I believe a bunch of the things he says. I think Whitlock, though, is not always wrong about Stephen A. either. I don't think he's completely wrong. I think there are some things about Stephen A. that maybe aren't true about his college basketball career. I mean, he made a lot of good points if you ever watch his channel. That goes. But I think the bigger thing for me is they're embracing now the YouTube beef thing. All these guys. They were one time they were too good to do that. Oh, these guys, who do you think you are? Like, we're reporters from and now they're YouTube beefing because it's making them money and they need a job. And like we just talked about with Peacock, legacy media is dying. So they're going and jumping right in on social media. So I thought that was very interesting. Do a little Orioles report. We're going to have an Orioles discussion here. Orioles open up their new development complex in the Dominican Republic. The facility is in Guerrero. It's gorgeous looking. From what I've seen, it's gorgeous looking. I would say it's a bit late. I think they were supposed to open last year, if I'm not mistaken. So it is a bit late. But the facility looks fantastic. Orioles have agreed to a deal with Steven Martinez, outfielder, and Emilio Sanchez, a shortstop, and a top 30 prospect, according to Baseball America there. So credit them for that. They're definitely in the international market. Definitely it's work. Samuel Balazzo is definitely a top prospect that they found in the international market. He's definitely going to be on the major league team. For them, this is something where they just weren't involved in. A lot of other teams are doing it, and now the Orioles are seeing benefits from it. They spent a lot of money, and this is something that they have to do, considering that they don't have money for free agents. Orioles announced their staff. Drew French is a now pitching coach for the Orioles for the 20 season, bullpen coach in Atlanta. So we know how good Atlanta's pitching has been throughout the years, how good it was recently. Drew French is now coming over. He's going to assist Brandon Hyde, going to start working with Grayson and those guys. Dylan Cease rumors continue. Man, I've seen more Dylan Cease rumors. It's crazy. It's crazy. I don't think the trade's going to happen. It might. I'm not saying it won't for sure. Here's a couple reasons. The Cease thing, Scott Boras, who represents him, it's the same reason on both ends. So why isn't Michael Elias just pulling the trigger? Because Cease only makes, I think, reportedly, I think it's like $5 million. So that's not something, that's definitely a salary the Orioles can afford. What's the problem with the Cease trade? They don't have the money to extend them, right? So first thing is Cease's camp is going to say, hey, we want an extension. Orioles aren't going to give him an extension. In the same way on the other side with Michael Elias, why don't I go ahead and trade prime prospects? Well, if I can't sign anybody to extension, the White Sox are going to want, maybe you could get away with not getting Jackson Holiday, but they're going to want Kobe Mayo. They're going to want Joey Ortiz. They're going to want DL Hall. They're going to want Colton Cowles or something like that. He doesn't want to give that up if he can't sign them in the long term. That makes sense. So I think that's why the Cease trade isn't happening. All right, let's go to the top 10 first basemen in the MLB. Who are the top 10 first basemen in Major League Baseball? We'll go ahead and square that away and find out who is the top 10 in Major League Baseball. Here, no MLB.com's putting out their list. This is the Ravery Sports list that we're putting out. Bit of a projection. Andrew Vaughn. I do like some of the young players on the White Sox. The White Sox had issues, but I think most of that was the pitching. Andrew Vaughn, I think, is coming up. I think he can hit 30 home runs for you next year. Mountcastle. Mounty's really good. Mounty stopped swinging at a lot of bad balls. Believe it or not, his home run totals were down. I think he got better last year. He did. I think Mountcastle really got better. Why do I say that? He stopped swinging a lot of crap. I think defensively he got better. I think he was better. He had 2 stints on the DL. That's why I think the home run totals are down. You could get him in there for 150 games. He'll be higher. This might seem so low for a guy who was so productive. He hasn't been this good last year. I don't think he's going to stay that. I don't think his production is going to be as good as it was, although he's still pretty good. He still makes the top 10. And plus, he's not a big home run threat. This position that kind of matters, that you hit a lot of home runs. Yandy Diaz, 8. Here's a guy who is a home run threat, Christian Walker. The straw that stirs the drink, probably the best player on the Diamondbacks as far as hitting, along with Corbin Carroll. He's fantastic, hits about 30 home runs, 100 RBIs. Definitely, he's a guy I think he could be a little bit higher. 7, he's down here, not quite the body of work, in my opinion, yet to have him higher. Paul Goldschmidt, here is a guy with a great body of work. Fantastic hitting prospect, for fantastic hitter for all those years. Getting a little older, that's why he's a little bit down here. I don't know if he's like in the 1-2 category, but I don't think the Cardinals would be so bad. But they still have Goldschmidt there. He still should be in the 20, 30 home runs around there, and they're right around 100 RBIs. Vlad Guerrero, some people say he's slipping a bit, maybe, but he's still really good. He's got probably 30 home runs, RBIs all over him, things like that. I think he needs a little bit of help in the batting order. I think that's more what it is than him not being as well. Those guys around him have kind of slipped. I think that's some of it. Pete Alonso, why is the guy number 4? His batting average was like super low for whatever reason last year. But Pete Alonso is no joke. He's an outstanding power hitter, 40 home runs plus. I think if he could pull the average up, that's the only thing that's keeping him out of the top 3. The top 3, no issues at all here. I don't care with any of these guys, no matter what you say. If you pick 1, 2, 3, I got no problem with any of those. Freddie Freeman is 3. The only reason he's 3, frankly, he's just the oldest. His production, I would assume, would come down. It doesn't seem like it, though. He's been very good. Freddie Freeman, average, power, everything you want as a hitter, fantastic. Probably just the oldest of the top 3. Maybe I think his production may slip a bit. Love Bryce Harper as a player, makes the Phillies go. I think this is excellent for him playing first base full time now. He'll get injured a lot less. He won't run into these walls and play so hard. I think he's due for a huge, huge season. I think this may be the biggest season of Bryce Harper's career. Number one, Matt Olson, 50 plus home runs in Atlanta. And plus all the protection he's going to have, Matt Olson is going to be killing the game for the Braves. I don't think there's any question about it. 1, 2, and 3 were splitting hairs. You have a list and you say that these guys are 1 or 2 or 3. I got no problem with any of that. One more baseball segment. We're going to talk about the whole league here. MLB tiers. I know it's January, but let's look at what they've done so far. Let's rate them. The whole league, couple tiers, elites, etc., etc. We'll go all the way down the list. This is not a power ranking in order, too. Keep that in mind. So there's elite teams. Who's elite? Braves, Orioles, Dodgers, Rangers, Astros, Phillies. Braves are elite. I don't think there's any question about it. I don't think there's a team more talented than the Braves. They didn't lose anybody. They're fantastic. That batting order, I think, is the best one of the best I've ever seen in any era. All the way down. We just talked about Freddie Freeman and Matt. We just talked about Matt Olson and Albies and Acuna, and it's fantastic. Orioles won 100 games. They're elite. They didn't lose anybody. Didn't play well in the playoffs. I'm still putting them right there. They've also may get Jackson Holiday coming up this season. Dodgers, you get Shohei Ohtani, and they were already fantastic. The pitching, I think, also they improved. They got the Japanese pitcher, Yamamoto, so absolutely they're ready to go. Rangers won the World Series. Of course they're there. I think you have some of the greatest players on the planet. Simeon and Seager, I think, are fantastic. The Astros are still there. Maybe a little bit of slippage, but I'm still putting them in the elite category. I think they're outstanding. Some of their guys are getting older. I think the pitching not quite as good, but the batting order is still fantastic. And Phillies as well. Bryce Harper there. Trey Turner, I think, was outstanding at the end of the last year. Good category. Brewers, Yankees, Twins, Mariners, Diamondbacks, Blue Jays. Brewers, I think, are going to have Rob Ciccarino at the beginning of the year. They still have Christian Yelich. I think their pitching is still really good. I mean, Corbin Burns is there. They're probably still the best team in that division. The Yankees added Juan Soto. You got to put them there. The pitching is still really good. They may not still be done. They're talking to Bryce Snell. Twins, I think, got much better at the end of last year. They were really good. Royce Lewis looks like a really good player. I like him. I think they definitely should win the AL Central. Mariners, I think, are still pretty good. I think they definitely have Julio Rodriguez is still fantastic. I think he's I think he's an MVP candidate. Definitely there. Diamondbacks, maybe this seems a little low. They went to a World Series. I think they're a little bit of ways behind the Dodgers, even still with that. I like Walker. I like Carroll. I like the starting pitching, but I don't have any elite category. I don't think there is that they're good yet, but they're still really good. They're definitely playoff contenders. Blue Jays are playoff contenders. They just got to do it when it matters. So still maybe what's going on with Chapman, Vlad Guerrero, Bo Bichette. They have good pitching as well. They're definitely getting rid of Alex Manoah. They're absolutely in the good category. Decent. Marlins, Red Sox, Rangers. Marlins, Red Sox, Rays, Reds, Padres, Cubs, Tigers. Marlins are really good, but they're good's about it. I think they have Luis Urias, Jake Berger. They have the good pitching. Jesus Luzardo, pretty good. I'm not sure if they play over their heads. I'm gonna put them in the playoff possible. Red Sox, I think, are pretty good. Devers, I think, is the real deal. They still probably have some work to do. They got rid of Sale finally. I think they have a good shot at it. Reds, we will see. De La Cruz, I think, is so much fun to watch. The moving steer to left field. Do they have enough pitching? That's the thing. Can they get in the playoffs? Padres are still really good. despite the losses. Manny Machado is still there. Darvish is still there. Bogarts is still there. They're still there. I don't think they're as strong, but they still have a shot at getting into playoffs. Cubs are getting there. Darby Swanson is good. I love Justin Steele as a pitcher. They're pretty good. I think they're there. Tigers, I think, do have Tigers. They do have a shot at it. They have some good young players. Torkelson and Riley Green are coming along, so they have a shot. Maybe category: Guardians, Giants, Rays, Cardinals, Mets, White Sox. Guardians. Bieber is still there if he's not traded. Juan Ramirez, Josh Naylor, they're not dead yet. I think they have a shot. I don't think so, but it could go either way. Giants are still kind of in that category. Jung Yoon Lee, I like him. They have a good opportunity. Wilmer Flores, Logan Webb is still there. I don't quite know what they're going to do possibly with Jordan Hicks, and they paid him a lot of money. I don't know exactly what they're doing. They're kind of in the middle. Rays lost too many guys. You may not have Wander Franco. They got rid of Glasnow. It's too bad. They won a lot of games, but I can't put them any higher than this. Cardinals, they were bad at the end of last year. They did make some pitching changes. Sonny Gray is going to help them, but I'm not sure if that's going to get them much higher. Mets, I'm not sure what's going on. Alonso's there. Some good players are there. Lindor, etc. But their pitching is a big question mark. White Sox, I love their hitters. Andrew Vaughn, etc. Is there. They have some they have some hitting. They're pitching, and they got to find any pitching if they can win. Last category, not good. A's, Pirates, Angels, Royals, Rockies, Nationals. Nationals have some hope. I think they're still rebuilding. I think they have some young players that might break out. A's, there's no hope at all. Padres, I think they kind of played overhead at the beginning. Angels, I couldn't find anybody except Trout there. That's all that's left. Maybe Rendon comes back around. And Rockies, I still think you're a ways away. I don't really see much there with the Rockies. Still think they're struggling. All right, the tiers. Orioles are elite team, no question about it. Orioles definitely have what it takes to actually get there. The question is, can they repeat that performance? Can you add to the team? You know, you get Kimbrel back, you lost Batista. It should happen, but it's a little bit frustrating as a fan not to be able to add teams. Like if you would go out and get a Dylan Cease, if you would go out and get a Blake Snell, if you would go out, you would definitely feel better about that. But the resources that they're not going to put into the team means that's not going to happen. Okay, done. Thank you very much for joining us. Definitely join us. I'm really busy these days. So we got a lot of live streams. We got a lot of business things happening. Thank you for joining us. Definitely check us out on all of our social media platforms. We're going to be doing some work on them. So we're trying to make them better for all of you out there. Enjoy the games. Go Ravens. Hopefully next time we're joining you, we're going to join you after the Ravens game on Saturday. Hopefully after a Ravens victory to the championship of the AFC. Have a great rest of your day.